Well, hi there, guys. I hope you guys are doing a great job avoiding the cold. I hope it's not too cold and too wintry wherever it is that you might be. It's cold right now out here, but it's not really that wintry. However, you will likely hear the heater come on. So we're just going to go ahead and jump straight back over into Baseball Stars action, which is where we belong. And we'll just sort of pick up on whatever it is that we had going on before. So our team is constantly changing. What we're going to do, as usual, is we're going to change the name of another player. I think that we're going to keep this guy, and we're going to use one of the sort of obscure Peanuts characters for those of you who have been following along. Shermie didn't really have much of an appearance in the strip after it was like the late 1950s, and after I think 1964 or something, he stopped appearing altogether. So he's going to be our guy who had the right field slot originally. As you can see, we don't have enough money to give him anything. I do need to go over this one more time. In fact, you might have to sort of forgive me here if I, pause things for a second like I did just there, to make sure that I keep notes on who we're keeping next and what exactly the plan is. So there's good old Charlie Brown. See, he even has the yellow shirt on, so you can tell it's him. And he's improving a little bit, but still doesn't have much, especially doesn't have much of that prestige. When we do want to get the prestige up, what we're going to do is we're going to throw money here into the batting side because that's where it's going to be cheaper. We're probably going to get rid of all of these other pitchers afterwards and just get rookies, but we're going to do one at a time because we don't want to have a team full of rookies that ends up losing every game. This center field one we're going to eventually get rid of. Left field one we will also get rid of. So this is what Pigpen looks like. That was yesterday's, sorry, the last game's name change, not yesterday, the day before. And here is good old Linus, who is doing better and better, and who's probably going to be one of our early star players. We just saw Shermie. Second base one is another one that we're going to end up getting rid of. Man, no prestige, no love. Lucy's doing better, and she's getting a bit more prestige, and will continue to be catcher for the time being. Meanwhile, catcher one is getting to the point where this is a player we're probably going to get rid of. We'll probably slowly move the rest of these players out as well. I think the catcher one is likely the next one that we'll get rid of. Actually, it's probably going to be Bat C1 that we'll get rid of next, I'm guessing. Neither of them are in our lineup, so... and then, of course, we have our newest rookie who doesn't yet have a name, but we will give her a name once I figure out which character works the best. And she's eventually going to go into the lineup once we've given her enough points to, get her to hit, because the 0 is not very good. Anyway, so that's what we're doing here. Right now, we're going to continue play and sort of see what happens. This is our 6th game against the SNK Crushers. And I don't think we're going to make any major changes in the lineup. I don't think that we've had any sort of major odd things happen. We are going to have pitcher B1 pitch instead of having Charlie go back out there. Somebody was saying that they thought that perhaps we had bad luck because we tried pitching Charlie as a starter 2 games in a row. So we'll do a little look and we'll see if that's actually the case or not. This is sort of the way that this game is, right? You know that there's a bunch of players you want to get rid of, but if you're playing this at least the real way, as if it were actually whatever year it was, 1989 or 1990, whichever year, and you had this game brand new, you didn't know any of the tricks or whatever, if you're playing this the real way, you would know that, while there are some players you want to get rid of, you can't get rid of everybody at once. You don't want to make it so your team is totally pitiful and awful and has no chance. But at the same time, we can't really accept that much from our 2 guys in the lineup, at the top of the lineup, rather. We need to get some more base hits in here. So slowly but surely, we will improve things. The trick and the name of the game is that you want to make sure that you get good rookies to replace the players you're getting rid of. You absolutely want to make sure that they have very, very high potential. And then you don't want to get rid of too many players at once, so you have some time to get the rookies up to a point that's actually reasonable, and so that they don't have batting of 0 and all this other stuff. And at the same time, you have to make sure that you're always increasing your prestige, because prestige is what makes it so that you get more money for winning games. And especially if you're here at this phase where we're playing against sort of the least prestigious and easiest team in the league, we need to do what we can to make sure that we can constantly beat them, and we can be earning sort of an ever-increasing amount of money playing against them. So anyway, that's sort of the theory here. That's at least sort of the way that I've pulled this up. And so you guys know, I mean, in preparation for this, one of the things I noticed, and Linus a little excuse me swing, and he drilled that one a long way. One of the things I noticed when I was preparing to do this is that there's not a whole lot of actual like strategy guides for this game. Most of the guides that are out there are not really, they're not really focused on like what you would do if you were playing it sort of this way. They're all focused on like, here's what the cheat codes are, and here are like tricks you can do to make it so that you know, beat lovely ladies and stuff like that if you have the second controller plugged in. You know, all that stuff that we all know. I mean, you can play it that way, but sometimes you don't want to. And, you know, when it comes to doing like simulations, replays and stuff, I think that most of us, at least around my age, tend to have like a focus on, you know, like we sort of create our own rules for what we're doing. And so, you know, I'm sticking kind of fastidiously to these, you know, rules about what is and is not allowed. And so, for example, when I'm not on camera, for example, I don't open this game at all. That's one of the rules I want to stick by to sort of keep this genuine, right? So what I've been doing in looking at like who I'm going to give what name to and stuff like that is I've been looking at the video from older games. And that's what I do to sort of identify and remember, oh yeah, that's what this player's rating is like and stuff like that. So anyway, it's going to take a little while here for everything to get up to where we want it to be. But we will before too long. Here's the little trick to get his runners on second and third. Only one out, so we're doing all right. Anyway, so yeah, so far so good. Back to the top of the order, and these bozos that don't have much. I mean, they're not awful players, it's just that they don't have much potential. That's the thing that you're looking out for the most. That's where this game's similar to, you know, Football Manager, Out of the Park Baseball, and stuff like that. The thing that matters the most is your potential ability. And if you have players that have poor potential, then it's not really worth it to keep them, you know, sitting around. Some of these, like that foul ball, it feels like it took forever for that that to come down. That was probably ball 4 I just swung at. Alright, well that's alright. We got 2 runs out of that. It's not too bad. Now, I'm not sure, it depends on how much we can get our prestige up. If we can get our prestige up to the point where we're earning like at least a somewhat significant amount of money every game, then we'll probably end up advancing a little bit faster and making it so that we have... It's hard to know what to do there. I probably should have run instead. I was going to say, once we have our prestige up a certain amount, we should be able to get to the point where, like, you know, we're getting new players on board really quickly and stuff like that. But it's going to take a while for us to get the prestige that high. And, you know, every time we bring a new player on, we're going to run that risk of, you know, having the prestige sort of sink a little bit, stuff like that. So we've actually already seen that when we brought the new rookie on. She doesn't have any prestige or any ability other than some defensive ability, so... Wow, we got them to take their pitcher out already. I mean, this is only the bottom of the second inning. So that gives you an idea of how things are going. Now, somebody was saying, and I do think that there is a pinch hitter sort of bonus in this game, but that didn't do them much good, did it? Yeah, man, they went to the bullpen really, really early. Remember, this is only game 6 out of a 25-game series, so we still have a lot to go. That's the reason why I'm thinking that, you know, it's possible that, you know, we might end up with a lot of roster changes by the time this full series is done. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll sort of see what happens. Oh, come on. anyway, like I said before, like we don't want to make wholesale roster changes and make it so that the team is really, really bad or anything like that. We have to make sure that we can still win like every game that we play, while we're changing the personnel and getting things sort of built up. And of course, the reason why we do this, I'm sort of approaching this as if it were, like a normal RPG, and that's why you see this is sort of like a grinding element of it and stuff like that. But, for an RPG, you do have to make sure that you're always grinding. Oh, shoot. Oh, that was pretty dumb. That was one of those unforced base running errors. I can't remember the acronym you guys were giving me for that, but whatever the acronym was, that was one of them right there. That was a really, really poor decision. We also need to increase our pitching abilities as well, slowly. Although I think that at first... Oh, amazing catch, wow. I think that what we're going to do at first is I think we're going to increase the hitting abilities. And then I think slowly over time we get to the point where... that's gone. I think slowly over the time we get to the point where we improve our pitchers so that we don't keep giving up home runs like that. But I don't know. Maybe what we do is we make sure that we improve the guys in the lineup that we have first of all, and then kind of go from there. There we go. There we go. All right, 2-1. So exciting game. Hopefully we can hold on to this. And yeah, we need to get running speed up and stuff like that so that that doesn't happen anymore. But all in good time. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I do wish that there was some way to like sell your player instead of just releasing them so that you can get some money for the crappy player that you're getting rid of that you don't want anymore. But that's the way it is. I think I'm going to need to change pitchers here soon. I want to see if he can get through one more inning. Yeah, we still don't have quite the defensive ability that we need to make that work. That is the first out only, okay. Still can't quite turn the double play, though that was close. It's getting better. Yep, no, we did it. Alright, we got him through 4. That's what we wanted to see. You know how it is, all those Japanese teams in the early 90s getting pitchers who can only pitch 4 innings a game, right? I don't remember if I mentioned this before in one of these videos. I know that I did a full video on Baseball Stars, but when this game came out in Japan, it really, really was revolutionary. There was nothing like it out on the market. There were a bunch of baseball games, though, that came out in Japan that were more like baseball simulations, even on the Famicom, than just this one. There's a series called, I think it's Best Play Pro Yaku, that we'll get to here eventually. That's a complete simulation. It's like playing, what's it called? The really old game from 1984, name of which slips my mind right now. But it's like playing that, or like an early version of OTP or whatever. You like say your lineup and then you watch as the game plays itself. But yeah, that sort of thing did exist on the Famicom. It was never ported to the NES. Nobody ever Micro League. That's what it is, Micro League Baseball. It never came to the NES, and you know, there was I think 3 or 4 games in that series in Japan, so there's quite a bit to play through. But it's going to take me a while to sort of get to that point. I have to get my baseball Japanese up again, and Probably have to do a little bit of scouting ahead of time so I don't look like a complete idiot when I try to play it. Let's see. Oh man. I swear he was playing more shallow than I was expecting. Inside the park home run. That's the first time we've seen that. And that might have been one of those plays where the lack of luck ability came into play. Somebody was saying that luck has a lot to do with, you know, whether the ball's like close to you at all when you're fielding. But I swear that that guy was playing a lot more shallow than I was expecting. Again, in the game facts guide to this game that I was reading before I started this, they were talking about how, you know, the SNK Crushers can't get a base hit. I'm not sure what game they were talking about, but it sure isn't the same game I'm playing. This team is not very easy all the time to beat. There we go. 2-2. The other thing we'll figure out over time is probably like which player ought to play in which position and stuff like that. Like, we're not always going to have this guy playing shortstop, because we're probably going to improve his batting abilities before we improve his defensive abilities. But, you know, we'll figure all of that out as time goes on. Assuming, of course, that we can actually win this game, which is not guaranteed. It's especially not guaranteed if I keep swinging at balls that are way out of the strike zone like that. No luck. All right. See if we can get the chase. Nope, he's just gonna stand there and do nothing. There we go, that's the good throw from Linus. That's why we need to have guys who can play shortstop well. See if we can get the chase. Oh, he didn't swing at all, didn't matter. And then, you know, where it says Lucky 7 fight, that's the 7th inning stretch they'll call Lucky 7 in Japan. You see that a lot in Japanese versions of these games. You don't necessarily see it so much in the US versions, at least they kind of translate that part, but that's where it's from. Boy, I tell you, she just can't buy a base hit. There we go. Well, no luck there. All right. Let's hope that we can finally score some runs again. We've improved this team, but we're still struggling from time to time. We're not quite to that like dominant stage yet in this game where it's really, really easy to beat teams like this. Which is a problem because the team we're up against is really not good. We also have not hit a home run yet, which is an interesting thing to note. We haven't hit a single one. Yes, just barely. That's why you put your good defenders on the left side of the infield. All right. This guy's hitting 538. I think that'll drop, yep. So that'll get his average up a little bit more. I think that we'd be doing a lot better if it wasn't for that base running mistake I made earlier on. Drop, I think so. Yep. Oh yeah. This is gonna help us out. We got this game in the bag now. Boy, he's so slow. It takes him forever to slide. Probably faster running than sliding. Another one of those little like corkscrew jobs off the end of the bat. All right, 3-2. We just hope that no, now it's 3-3. Like I said, that's the problem that we have. We don't have anybody who can hit with that kind of power, and we're pretty good at giving up home runs like that. So it's going to take a little while for us to get things up to the point where we can match that. All right. Or we're going to end up losing this game. Jeez. Well, I'm not sure what to do about that. Let me know what you think. Still trying to come inside on these guys, or go inside and then go outside, but it just doesn't work. If you don't have pitchers who can curve the ball, it just doesn't work that well. All right, well, pressure's on. And unfortunately, this is actually their best relief pitcher. This might be their best pitcher. Hate to swing at something like that, but that was in the strike zone. If I let that go by, it's called strike 3. You can see part of the problem is that we don't have that reach at the plate. We have to increase the batting stats, but the hard part is that to increase the batting stats, you have to actually win a game. Same thing with the running stats. If we had better running stats, that would have been a base hit. I don't think this guy is quite good enough, but we'll give him a try again. See, like I told you, that's going to end up being a strike. Yep, that's it. So we've managed again to rip defeat out of the jaws of victory. 4-3 loss. It really should have been a win. It is frustrating, as I said before, because we haven't hit a single home run yet in any of these games. You can go back and watch every single one of them. We don't have a single one. So much for that. You can see though that our attendance is increasing as we've increased our what's it called, our prestige. But we have no money to do anything. Like, we don't even have enough to pay for $5,000. So there's nothing we can do, and so we just end play. And it it's not quite as easy as it seems. We have to play another game. I think with Charlie on the mound next time out, it'll be a little bit easier. Maybe we can have better usage of the bullpen or something like that. And we'll see what happens. So we'll see you again tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more luck then. Talk to you later.